Hey there. The world media obsesses over the words and actions of U.S. presidents. Everything they do is over-reported, and if a particular president wants to, like the current one, they can dominate every single news cycle. But the actions of individual presidents aren't really all that important. Foreign policy is supposedly the arena where U.S. presidents are freest. None of the state and local actors that constrain presidents in domestic policy apply beyond our borders. Yippee! But even here, they are constrained. Obama and Trump supporters have different names for it, but they are talking about the same thing. I call it the Metastasized Military-Industrial Complex, or MIC for short. It includes the U.S. Congress, defense contractors, journalists, think tanks, and universities. All these folks want war, and they tend to get it. When a president gives the complex what it wants, as Bush did in Iraq, a president can get away with a lot. But when a president tries to resist the interests of the military-industrial complex, he fails. Obama desperately wanted to avoid U.S. military boots on the ground in Syria. To quiet the warmongers in his administration, he approved a CIA program called Timber Sycamore. For the past 4 years, reportedly billions of dollars have been spent arming rebels to take down Assad. It was this program, more than anything else, that destroyed Syria. In January 2013, before the program really started, refugee flows to the European Union were at 33,000 a month. In September 2015, right before the Russian intervention that U.S. media blames for the refugee crisis, they stood at 367,000 a month. Our solution to Assad's tin pot dictatorship was worse than the problem. Russia's bombing did double refugee flows, but it was the initial U.S. intervention that sent them up by a factor of 10 and convinced Putin that he had to take direct action to save his ally Assad. We destroyed Syria under a president who didn't want to go to war. And now we have the U.S. military boots on the ground in Syria that Obama tried so desperately to avoid. The military-industrial complex always wins. Obama spent his presidency and a tremendous amount of political capital trying to bring about peace with Iran. The more I study this, the more heroic the effort looks. He was fighting against almost 4 decades of military-industrial complex policy. Obama's pushing of the nuclear deal was brave, but it's also probably doomed. I've already covered Trump's insane efforts to end the nuclear deal unilaterally. But Congress is trying to kill the nuclear deal as well. The recent sanctions bill on Russia included severe new sanctions on Iran for no particularly good reason. These new sanctions violate the spirit of the Iran nuclear deal, even if they don't violate the letter, and they may convince Iran to throw out the deal. I'm not optimistic. So it looks like Obama's efforts to thwart the MIC on Iran will probably fail as well. As viewers of this channel know, I am not a fan of Donald Trump. Really not a fan. But a couple weeks back, he did a legitimately great thing. He canceled the CIA program that was arming the Syrian rebels. It was the right thing to do. This program always supported jihadists, but recently it's gotten so bad that MIC propaganda outfits like the New York Times and Fox News have had to admit it. Trump did the right thing, but it won't help Syria much. To put it charitably, Trump's not so great with the details, and he has bought the MIC's line on Iran hook, line, and sinker. The complex is perfectly happy to move on to Iran and leave Syria in ruins. We're not physically arming the rebels anymore, but the freed up billions will probably go towards humanitarian aid to the ever-shrinking areas that are still controlled by the rebels. This will prop them up for longer, guaranteeing that the civil war continues. Anybody who lets a couple $1 million in aid money flow to Assad is publicly shamed. Assad is a bad man, but he happens to control most of the areas in Syria where people actually live. We can't rebuild Syria without him. The humanitarian agencies, which I consider to be a part of the expanded military-industrial complex, are actively trying to discourage Syrian refugees who want to go home and rebuild their country. The broader war with Iran that Washington, D.C. is trying to start will probably end up being fought out in Syria as well. Trump took a positive step towards ending the war in Syria, but it probably won't make much difference. Presidents do have real power, but when they go against the military-industrial complex, they fail. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And if you'd like to know more about the tricky problem of the military-industrial complex and why it's so powerful, I suggest you watch my playlist on the topic. Thanks.